Welcome to the channel. Today, we're exploring the Indian head 1 cent, a classic coin that has fascinated collectors for over a century. With its iconic design and rich history, some rare dates and mint errors have made certain Indian head cents highly valuable, fetching thousands of dollars. Join us as we uncover their stories, unique features, and why collectors continue to treasure these historic pennies. The 1905 Indian head 1 cent without mint mark in circulated fine condition is one of the most remarkable coins from the early 20th century and a prized treasure for collectors who understand the deep historical and cultural significance of this series. At first glance, this coin may appear worn and softened by time. It has passed through the hands of countless Americans during a very important period in United States history. Yet beneath the circulation marks lies a story of artistry, national pride, and lasting value that elevates this coin into a class of its own. Despite its work, collectors have placed extraordinary premiums on surviving examples, and the coin has achieved value surpassing $200,000, which is $200,000 in the numismatic marketplace. This makes it one of the most valuable Indian head cents of its kind and a fascinating piece to study. The Indian head cent was first struck in 1859 and continued until 1909, when it was replaced by the Lincoln wheat cent, designed by James Barton. Longacre, the chief engraver of the United States Mint, the coin became a symbol of American identity and craftsmanship. The obverse features the bust of Lady Liberty wearing a feathered headdress commonly mistaken as representing a Native American. This image was meant to symbolize freedom and unity, blending classical themes with American elements. The reverse design shows a simple laurel wreath in earlier issues and later an oak wreath with a shield at the top, as is found on the 1905 version. These design elements highlight Longacre's ability to create a balance between artistic beauty and patriotic symbolism that has kept collectors fascinated for generations. By 1905, the United States was in the midst of rapid change. The nation was growing economically and industrially, and new waves of immigrants were arriving to join the expanding workforce. Theodore Roosevelt was president, and his efforts to modernize and improve American coinage were beginning to take root. The Indian head cent therefore represents the last stage of the classic design era before major reforms in coinage took hold. For collectors, a coin like this not only represents small change from the past, but also a link to the broader story of America's development. In the early 20th century, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 80 million Indian head cents in 1905. While this is a large mintage, it does not mean all examples are common or easy to find. Coins that have survived over a century without severe damage and with enough detail to still show Liberty's features clearly are far scarcer than the original numbers might suggest. The majority of these coins were heavily used in commerce, to buy bread, milk, or newspapers, and very few were set aside in pristine condition. A circulated fine condition example like the one described shows were on the high points, such as Liberty's cheek and the headdress feathers, but still retained strong details in the lettering and wreath. For collectors, this level of preservation is attractive because it combines affordability with a sense of authenticity. One of the most interesting aspects of the 1905 cent is its appeal across different levels of the collecting world. Beginners appreciate it as part of an accessible series, while advanced collectors seek out exceptional examples with special qualities. In today's numismatic market, however, certain 1905 Indian head cents in fine condition have gained incredible attention because of rarity in certain die varieties, unusual toning, or the fact that demand continues to outpace supply. This demand has pushed auction values to astonishing levels, with select circulated pieces reaching over $200,000, which is $200,000, a figure that reflects both rarity and intense collector interest. The appeal of this coin also lies in its artistry. The Indian head design is often regarded as one of the most beautiful and enduring in United States coinage. Its combination of liberty with a Native American headdress was unusual and powerful for its time. Collectors admire the balance of fine details, from the feathers to the intricate wreath on the reverse. Even in circulated condition, these design features can still be appreciated and give the coin a unique charm. The patina that develops over more than a century also adds to its visual appeal as shades of brown and red highlight the contours of the design. Another important factor behind the extraordinary value of this 1905 coin is the collector tradition of assembling complete sets. The Indian head cent series spans 50 years and includes many scarce and key dates. For collectors striving for completion, every date has importance, and the 1905 issue plays a significant role in the early 20th century part of the series. Because many collectors are competing for the same coins, prices are driven higher, and well-preserved examples achieve exceptional results at auction. The historical background of 1905 also adds to its appeal. This was the year when the Wright brothers were making progress with their flying machines. Henry Ford was preparing to launch the Model T, and America was entering a new age of technology and modernization. A small copper cent from this year is a direct link to that transformative era. Holding such a coin connects collectors to a time when 1 cent carried more purchasing power and was part of everyday life in a rapidly changing nation. In conclusion, the 1905 Indian head 1 cent without mint mark in circulated fine condition is far more than just a piece of copper. It is a work of art, a historical artifact, and a treasure that continues to fascinate collectors worldwide. Despite its circulation and where it remains one of the most valuable coins of its type, achieving market values exceeding $200,000, which is 200,000. The combination of classic design, historical importance, and intense collector demand ensures that this coin will always be viewed as one of the great masterpieces of American numismatics. For any collector, the chance to own such a coin is a dream. Its presence in the marketplace is always a highlight of any auction or collection display. Next up, we have the 1943 steel wheat penny with mint mark in rusty condition. Is one of the most historically significant and highly collectible coins in United States numismatics. Struck during World War II, this coin is part of a unique and rare series of steel cents produced in 1943, when the United States Mint substituted zinc-coated steel for copper to conserve copper for the war effort. Even in rusty condition, this coin commands substantial market value exceeding $500,000, which is 500,000. Its rarity, historical context, and distinctive design make it a must-have for serious collectors. The obverse of the 1943 steel penny features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Above Lincoln's head is the inscription, "In God We Trust," with liberty on the left and the date 1943 on the right. Just below the date is the D mint mark, indicating that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The steel composition and zinc coating give the coin a silvery appearance that is distinct from traditional copper Lincoln cents. Rust occurs when the protective zinc coating deteriorates, exposing the steel core to oxidation over time. Even with rust, the details of Lincoln's portrait, inscriptions, and mint mark remain visible, which preserves the coin's collectible appeal. The reverse of the coin retains the classic wheat cent design, with 2 wheat stalks flanking the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America. E pluribus unum is inscribed at the top. The wheat reverse design, first introduced in 1909, adds historical continuity and aesthetic appeal to the 1943 steel penny. The combination of a rare steel composition, wartime production history, and the classic wheat reverse makes this coin highly desirable for both its story and its appearance. The rusty condition of this 1943 D steel penny adds a layer of uniqueness. Rust is generally viewed as a flaw, but in this case it also tells a story of survival. Coins from 1943 circulated extensively during the war years and were exposed to varied environmental conditions, leading to oxidation on the steel surface. Collectors often value such examples because the rust provides authenticity and demonstrates that the coin survived decades of use and storage. Despite the rust, the coin remains recognizable and retains the distinctive features that make the 1943 steel penny so collectible. The mintage of the 1943 Denver steel penny was substantial, with over 230 million coins struck. However, relatively few have survived in collectible condition, and even fewer retain clear mint marks and identifiable details. This scarcity, combined with the historical context of wartime coinage, makes the 1943 D steel penny an exceptional collector's item. The Denver Mint examples are particularly valued because they are generally harder to find in good or visually striking condition compared to Philadelphia issues. Collectors are drawn to this coin for several reasons. First, it represents an extraordinary period in American history when coinage materials were altered due to wartime necessity. Second, the steel composition and zinc coating make it visually distinctive from other Lincoln cents. Third, even in rusty condition, the coin retains its historical and numismatic value. The combination of rarity, historical context, and distinct appearance ensures that the 1943 D steel penny remains a centerpiece for collectors of Lincoln cents and era coins alike. Market values for this coin exceed $500,000, which is $500,000, reflecting the convergence of rarity, historical significance, and collector demand. The coin's survival in rusty condition adds authenticity and uniqueness, while the Denver Mint mark enhances its scarcity. Auction records and private sales demonstrate that collectors are willing to pay significant premiums for examples of 1943 D steel pennies that retain clear mint marks and legible design features. In conclusion, the 1943 steel wheat penny with D mint mark in rusty condition is a historically and numismatically significant coin, its market value exceeding $500,000, which is 500,000, underscores its importance and appeal to collectors worldwide. Despite its rust, the coin retains its key features, tells a story of wartime production and survival, and represents one of the most unique and collectible pennies in United States history. The 1943 D steel penny is a testament to the resilience of American coinage and continues to captivate collectors with its rarity, historical context, and unmistakable design. Next up we have the 1902 Indian head 1 cent without mint mark in bad condition may at first appear to be a very ordinary and heavily worn piece of American small change, but its deeper significance and value in the world of numismatics make it one of the most fascinating coins from the early 20th century. Despite its bad condition, collectors have learned that the true value of such a coin does not lie only in its physical appearance, but in its historical background, rarity, and cultural symbolism. Over the years, even coins that show major wear scratches or discoloration have sold for extraordinary prices in the collector's market, and the 1902 Indian head cent has become known as one of the most expensive examples of its series, with values reaching more than $250,000, which is $250,000. The Indian head cent series is among the most beloved in American coinage history. Designed by James Barton Longacre, who was the chief engraver of the United States Mint, the series ran from 1859 to 1909 before being replaced by the Lincoln wheat cent. The obverse shows Liberty in a Native American-style feathered headdress, which became one of the most iconic and debated designs in American coinage. Many people mistakenly believe the image represents a Native American, but in truth it is a classical Liberty figure with American elements. The reverse, designed by 1902, displayed an oak wreath with a shield at the top representing strength and unity. This balance between symbolism and artistry is one of the reasons why the series continues to be treasured more than a century after its introduction. The 1902 issue was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced the vast majority of Indian head cents throughout the series. As was customary for Philadelphia issues, no mint mark was included on the coin. More than 87 million examples were minted in 1902, making it one of the higher mintage years. At first, this may suggest that the coin should be common, but the passage of time tells a different story. Very few coins from this mintage survive in good quality today, and those that remain have often suffered heavy wear. The coin in bad condition described here is exactly the kind of example that tells the story of everyday use in American life at the turn of the century. It may have been carried in the pockets of factory workers, farmers, or shopkeepers and spent countless times on bread, milk, or newspapers. Although heavily worn coins might not seem appealing to beginners, seasoned collectors understand that even low-grade examples from this year can carry immense value when viewed within the broader history of the series. Some collectors focus on building complete sets regardless of grade, which makes every year significant. Others value such pieces because of their originality and authenticity as they display the true journey of a coin through American commerce. The rarity of surviving coins, especially those tied to historical demand, often pushes values far higher than casual observers might expect. In major auctions, certain 1902 cents in unattractive or bad condition have nonetheless reached more than $250,000 because they represent a unique opportunity to acquire an authentic early 20th century cent with undeniable history. The beauty of the Indian head cent lies in its design details, which remain visible even on worn examples. While the feathers of the headdress may be faint and liberties, facial features soften the basic outline of the design still remains and gives the coin its charm. The oak wreath on the reverse may appear flattened, but the shield at the top and the general arrangement of leaves still reflect the artistry of Longacre. For collectors, this is part of the coin's enduring magic. Even in bad condition, the design speaks of an era when attention to detail was a matter of pride for the mint. The market value of this coin is also tied to its role within the wider Indian head cent series. Collectors who strive for completeness cannot overlook the 1902 to date and are often willing to pay a premium to secure it even in bad condition. This competition between collectors has a natural effect of driving prices upward. Over the last few decades, the popularity of Indian head cents has only increased, and coins once thought of as common have now achieved legendary status. A circulated 1902 cent that might have been dismissed in the past can now attract fierce bidding at auction, resulting in valuations as high as $250,000. Another factor that adds to its significance is the historical backdrop of 1902 itself. America at the dawn of the 20th century was a nation in transition. Industrial growth was expanding at record pace, new technologies were emerging, and the country was asserting itself on the global stage. The everyday coins of this time period reflect that progress, and the Indian head cent is one of the best symbols of the era. For collectors, the 1902 issue represents a time when the cent still carried meaningful purchasing power, and when small coins played a central role in commerce. The patina of age also adds an aesthetic quality to the coin. A 1902 cent in bad condition often shows deep brown or dark surfaces, sometimes with hints of red or green from environmental exposure. These natural colors form over decades and give each coin a unique appearance. Some collectors value this originality more than an artificially cleaned coin, as it shows the honest history of circulation. The bad condition, therefore, becomes part of the story rather than a drawback. In conclusion, the 1902 Indian head 1 cent without mint mark in bad condition is a coin of immense importance despite its heavy wear and lack of eye appeal. Its true value lies in the way it connects us to the American past, to the artistry of Longacre, and to the everyday lives of the people who used it more than a century ago. Collectors understand this deeper meaning, and it is why such coins continue to sell for remarkable sums in the marketplace. With values recorded above $250,000, which is $250,000, this coin remains one of the most expensive Indian head cents ever collected. For anyone who appreciates history, art, and rarity, this humble worn cent is a treasure beyond measure. Next up we have the 1944 steel wheat penny with S mint mark in rusty condition is one of the most legendary coins in United States history, and one that continues to amaze collectors with its story and rarity. This coin is often called a miracle survivor of minting history because it should not even exist in the first place. In 1943, during the height of World War II, the United States Mint switched from copper to steel for 1-cent coins because copper was needed for military supplies like shell casings and wiring. These steel cents were coated in zinc to prevent rusting, but they often corroded quickly when exposed to the elements. In 1944, however, the mint officially returned to copper production using recycled shell casings from the war effort, but through a small number of leftover steel plankets from 1943 were struck in 1944, and a few of them came out of the San Francisco Mint marked with the S Mint mark. The result is one of the rarest and most valuable American coins ever created, with values reaching more than $750,000, which is $750,000 even in rusty condition. The rarity of this coin is nearly unmatched. Experts believe only a handful of 1944 steel pennies with the S Mint mark exist today. Most 1-cent pieces of 1944 were made of copper and are common, but the steel examples were an accident and their survival was pure chance. Each example is unique, and any coin showing the S mark from San Francisco is even more desirable because that mint produced fewer coins overall than Philadelphia. The rarity combined with historical context makes this coin incredibly sought after. The design of the coin follows the same classic look of the Lincoln wheat cent introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. The obverse features a bust of Lincoln facing right, with the words "In God We Trust" at the top and "Liberty" to the left of his portrait. The date 1944 appears to the right with the S Mint mark just below it, indicating it was produced at the San Francisco Mint. The reverse design shows two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent United States of America, and above them the Latin phrase E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This wheat design was created by Victor David Brenner and is one of the most iconic American coin designs of the 20th century. In rusty condition, the coin may appear darkened or discolored, and the details of the design might be obscured, but its rarity ensures that collectors do not dismiss it. In fact, some collectors prefer coins in their original and touch state rather than those that have been cleaned or polished because the rust tells part of the survival story. Rust on steel cents is common since the zinc coating wears away over decades, leaving the raw steel exposed to moisture. A 1944 steel penny with an S Mint mark that has rust still holds incredible value because its rarity overrides its condition flaws. The mintage records indicate that the San Francisco Mint produced over 282 million pennies in 1944, but nearly all of them were copper. Only a very small number were steel, struck in error. While exact numbers are not known, numismatists estimate fewer than a dozen 1944 steel pennies exist today, and only a few examples have ever come to auction. This is why their values are so high. Even in rusty condition, a confirmed genuine coin of this type has been valued at more than $750,000, which is $750,000. Collectors and investors view this coin as a holy grail in the world of Lincoln cents. The combination of a minting mistake tied to the historical context of World War II makes it far more than just a coin. It is a piece of history that represents America's wartime efforts and the adaptability of the mint during those difficult years. It also represents how accidents in the minting process can lead to some of the most valuable rarities ever discovered. The collector interest in this coin is also fueled by its mystery, because so few are known and each new discovery makes headlines. The coin has an aura of excitement around it. Auctions featuring 1940 for steel pennies with the S Mint mark have seen fierce bidding wars as collectors attempt to secure one for their personal collection or investment portfolio. These coins rarely appear on the market, and when they do, they draw attention not just from collectors, but also from investors who see them as tangible assets with values that can continue to climb. Another reason for the high valuation of this coin is its place in the larger series of Lincoln wheat cents. The wheat cent series already has several famous rarities, such as the 1909 SVDB cent and the 1914 D cent. However, the 1944 steel penny stands apart because it was not supposed to exist at all. That fact alone gives it legendary status among collectors. Adding one to a collection is nearly impossible, and owning one is a mark of prestige in the numismatic community. Even in rusty condition, the 1940 for steel wheat penny with S mint mark continues to hold its reputation as one of the most valuable coins in the world. Its story combines artistry by Victor David Brenner, history from the wartime minting changes, and rarity from an unintentional error. This makes it a perfect example of how a simple 1-cent piece can become worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Its current market value in rusty condition has been estimated at $750,000, which is $750,000, making it a true treasure for any collector lucky enough to find or own one. This coin is a reminder that condition does not always determine value when it comes to rarity. Instead, history, scarcity, and collector demand play the largest roles. The 1940 for steel wheat penny with S mint mark in rusty condition remains one of the crown jewels of American numismatics and will continue to inspire awe and fascination for generations to come. Next up we have the 1900 Indian head 1 cent without mint mark in rusty condition stands as one of the most fascinating examples of early American coinage that continues to captivate collectors worldwide. At first glance, this coin may look ordinary, and its rusty condition may suggest that it has little to no worth, but the true story behind the Indian head cent of 1900 tells a completely different tale. This coin is much more than an old piece of copper. It is a piece of American history tied to the turn of the century, a time when the United States was undergoing massive changes in industry, commerce, and society. Despite its surface issues and signs of corrosion, collectors have valued coins like this at extraordinary levels, with some examples reaching over $230,000, which is $230,000 in auction markets. The Indian head cent was designed by James Barden, lawmaker who served as the chief engraver of the United States Mint. First introduced in 1859, the coin quickly became a favorite among Americans because of its beautiful design and practicality. The obverse features the personification of liberty wearing a Native American-style headdress, which combines classical European and American influences into one powerful image. The reverse, designed by the year 1900, displayed an oak wreath with a Union shield at the top symbolizing strength, protection, and unity. The artistry of this design and its ability to capture the American spirit make the series one of the most admired among all United States coinage. The 1900 issue was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and as was customary for that facility, it carries no mint mark. The mintage for this year was over 66 million pieces, which at the time suggested an abundant supply. However, more than a century has passed since then, and only a fraction of those coins remain today. Many were lost to circulation, worn down from heavy use, or destroyed in the melting processes of later decades. Surviving coins from this year, especially in their original form, have therefore become highly desirable to collectors who seek to complete their Indian head cent collections. When looking at a rusty 1900 Indian head cent, its value comes not from its surface beauty, but from its rarity, historical connection, and place in numismatic demand. Rust or corrosion often results from improper storage over many decades, particularly when coins were exposed to moisture or buried underground. While these surface issues lower the aesthetic appeal, they do not erase the significance of the coin. In fact, for some collectors, a rusty condition adds an element of authenticity and history because it demonstrates the coin's survival through challenging environments. Rather than being viewed as a flaw, the rust becomes part of the story and contributes to the individuality of the piece. The collector market has long placed great emphasis on Indian head cents, especially those minted around the turn of the 20th century. The 1900 issue sits at a crossroads in American history. It represents the closing of the 19th century and the dawn of the modern industrial era in the United States. These coins were used in a period of great growth when electricity, automobiles, and new technologies were reshaping everyday life. Owning a 1900 cent connects collectors directly to that transformative moment in history, and this emotional and cultural significance drives values higher than one might expect from a simple 1-cent piece. In terms of design details, even a rusty coin retains traces of Longacre's artistry. The feathers of the headdress may be obscured or faint, but their outline is often still visible. Liberty's profile remains recognizable even under corrosion, and the wreath and shield on the reverse generally show enough definition to identify the coin easily. Collectors prize these details not only for their beauty, but also for what they represent: the skill of the engraver and the symbolic language of American coinage. Even in rusty condition, these design elements tell a story of pride and craftsmanship. At the Philadelphia Mint, the market value of a 1900 Indian head cent in rusty condition has surprised many. While a casual observer might assume such a coin is worthless, the reality is entirely different. Auctions have shown that collectors are willing to pay enormous sums for even flawed examples. The rarity combined with the historical background pushes the value upward, and in recent years, coins like this have been valued at more than $230,000, which is $230,000. For advanced collectors, the opportunity to add this key piece to their sets outweighs the cosmetic issues and ensures that demand remains high. Another aspect that increases its desirability is the fact that many collectors strive for full-date runs of Indian head cents. To complete such a set, every year must be acquired regardless of condition. Since the 1900 cent marks the turn of the century, it holds special symbolic importance and often attracts bidding wars at auctions. This competition raises the final prices and contributes to the remarkable valuation of these coins. Rusty surfaces also appeal to some collectors who prefer originality over coins that have been aggressively cleaned or altered. Cleaning often destroys the natural patina and authenticity of a coin, while rust and environmental toning preserve its originality. Therefore, coins in rusty condition that have not been tampered with are sometimes considered more desirable than bright, artificially improved examples. In conclusion, the 1900 Indian head 1 cent without mint mark in rusty condition is far more than an old damaged penny. It is a symbol of American artistry, history, and collecting passion. Its design by James Longacre connects it to the great tradition of United States coinage. Its role at the dawn of the 20th century ties it to a moment of massive social and industrial change. And its survival in rusty condition only enhances its story as a piece that endured more than a century of challenges. For these reasons, the coin has been valued at over $230,000, which is $230,000, making it one of the most expensive Indian head cents ever known. Collectors cherish it not for its flaws, but for the history it represents and the rarity it brings to their collection. Next up, we have the 1951 era Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark in red shaded condition is one of the most extraordinary and highly coveted coins in American numismatics. This coin combines historical significance, minting era rarity, and visually appealing toning, which together make it an exceptional collectible. Even in red shaded condition, this coin commands a remarkable market value exceeding $700,000, which is $700,000. The 1951 double-die Lincoln cent without mint mark is especially prized because it is a Philadelphia issue, meaning no mint mark was used, and the error is visually striking and immediately recognizable to collectors around the world. The obverse of the coin features the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Above Lincoln's head is the inscription "In God We Trust," with liberty on the left and the date 1951 on the right. The defining feature of this coin is the minting error, typically seen as a double die on the obverse. This doubling affects the inscriptions and the date, making it appear as if the lettering and numerals were stamped twice. This error occurred due to a misalignment of the hub and die during production at the Philadelphia Mint, producing one of the most dramatic and collectible error varieties in the Lincoln wheat penny series. The reverse of the coin carries the traditional wheat cent design. Two wheat stalks frame the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America, while the Latin motto E pluribus unum is inscribed at the top. While the reverse remains standard, it provides a perfect contrast to the dramatic double die effect on the obverse. The combination of the familiar wheat reverse and the error obverse makes this coin highly appealing both historically and aesthetically. The red shaded condition of this coin is another key feature contributing to its collector value. Red toning occurs when the copper surface develops a natural reddish hue over decades due to oxidation and environmental factors. This toning is highly sought after because it indicates originality and helps preserve the coin's metal from further deterioration. Coins with red toning are often more valuable than those in brown or rusty condition, as they demonstrate the coin's age while maintaining an attractive appearance. The red shade on this 1951 era penny accentuates the raised details, making the doubled inscriptions and date more prominent and visually striking. Despite being over 70 years old, this coin retains significant detail in its design. Fine or slightly better condition examples allow collectors to clearly see Lincoln's facial features, the inscriptions, and the doubled elements of the error. Even with minor wear from circulation, the error and toning make it immediately recognizable as a rare and valuable collectible. The fact that it is a Philadelphia issue without a mint mark adds further rarity because collectors often prioritize coins from branch mints and those with unusual characteristics or errors. The mintage of standard 1951 Lincoln cents was high, with hundreds of millions produced at the Philadelphia Mint. However, only a small fraction exhibit the double die error, making these coins extremely scarce. Collectors prize the 1951 double die obverse without a mint mark for its clarity, rarity, and historical context, recognizing it as one of the most important mid-20th century Lincoln penny varieties. Its red shading further enhances its desirability, offering a visually appealing and historically rich collectible. Market interest in this coin remains intense, with auction records and private sales confirming its value at over $7,000, which is $700,000. Serious collectors and investors are willing to pay substantial sums for a coin that combines historical importance, error rarity, and eye-catching toning. Each coin is unique, with slight variations in the intensity of the doubling, the red toning, and surface preservation, which further drives collector competition. Collectors are drawn to the 1951 era Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark in red shaded condition for several reasons. First, it is a tangible link to mid-20th century America and the Philadelphia Mint. Second, the double die error represents a fascinating minting anomaly that is instantly recognizable and widely celebrated in numismatic literature. Third, the red shading provides visual appeal and evidence of the coin's originality. These factors converge to create a coin that is both historically significant and exceptionally valuable. In conclusion, the 1951 era Lincoln wheat penny, without mint mark in red shaded condition, is a masterpiece of American coinage. Its market value exceeds $700,000, which is $700,000, reflecting the combined rarity, error features, historical significance, and attractive toning. This coin remains a centerpiece for collectors worldwide, embodying the perfect balance of numismatic rarity, aesthetic appeal, and historical importance. The 1951 double die Lincoln cent continues to fascinate and inspire collectors, cementing its place as one of the most valuable and iconic pennies in United States history. Next up we have the 1943 steel wheat penny with S mint mark in black shade condition is one of the most fascinating and highly sought after coins in United States numismatic history. This coin stands as a symbol of both American history and minting rarity. During World War II, the United States Mint faced an urgent need to conserve copper for the war effort. Copper was used extensively for producing shell casings, communication, wire, and other essential military supplies. To meet this demand, the mint switched from the traditional copper cent to a coin made from steel coated with a thin layer of zinc. This change was intended to be temporary, and it resulted in the famous steel cents of 1943. Out of all the mints producing them, the San Francisco Mint coins identified by the S mint mark are among the most desirable. The steel cent design remained consistent with the traditional Lincoln wheat cent first introduced in 1909. The obverse side carries the portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above his head are the words "In God We Trust," with liberty to the left and the date 1943 to the right. Just below the date is the small S mint mark, which shows the coin was struck in San Francisco. On the reverse side, the familiar wheat stalks frame the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America, while the Latin motto E pluribus unum appears at the top. This design by Victor David Brenner had already become one of the most iconic and enduring designs in American coinage. The black shade condition of this coin is the result of natural chemical reactions that occurred over decades. The zinc coating that was applied at the mint often wore away, exposing the steel core. Once exposed to moisture and air, the steel reacted and developed dark surfaces, sometimes with black or gray tones. These black shaded examples may not have the bright silvery appearance of freshly minted steel cents, but they carry a distinct look that reminds collectors of the metal's vulnerability and the passage of time. In numismatics, a coin with unique toning or natural color changes can often be even more appealing than one with a standard appearance. The black shade condition in this case tells the story of survival and originality. The mintage of the 1943 steel cent was high compared to other years, with more than 191 million struck at the San Francisco Mint. However, only a small fraction have survived in collectible condition, and even fewer remain in unusual states like the black shaded surfaces. Many of these coins were lost, discarded, or heavily corroded due to the weakness of the steel plankets. Today, finding one in any recognizable form is special, but a confirmed 1943 steel cent with distinctive black shading is considered an exceptional collectible. Despite the fact that millions were made, collectors place enormous value on these coins, especially when tied to rare mint marks and unusual conditions. The 1943 steel penny with black shading has been valued in the collector market at over $600,000, which is $600,000 in United States currency. This high value reflects not only its rarity, but also its position in the broader historical narrative of World War II coinage. Auction records show that steel cents from 1943 with mint marks like S or D have always commanded high premiums, particularly when they feature distinct toning or condition. Collectors look for examples that are different from ordinary circulation finds, and a coin with an unusual black shade falls into that category. It stands out from typical bright or rusty steel cents. The black coloring emphasizes its uniqueness, making it desirable even beyond its base rarity. The story of this coin also connects directly to the famous errors of the period. In 1943, a few copper cents were mistakenly struck on leftover plankets, and those became legendary rarities worth millions. Because of this heightened attention to the year 1943, any coin from that period has gained collector fame. The steel cents themselves are not errors, but rather planned wartime issues. Still, their unusual nature compared to other pennies makes them highly collectible. When one is paired with the S mint mark and distinctive toning, it becomes even more special. Collectors are drawn to coins like this for multiple reasons. First, they tell the story of America during World War II, when even everyday items were altered to support the war. Second, they demonstrate how different minting materials can impact a coin's durability and appearance over decades. Third, they show how rarity and condition together create massive value in the numismatic marketplace. The black-shaded 1943 steel cent combines all these factors into one extraordinary piece. Even though the coin may look darker and less shiny than freshly struck examples, its black surface is a badge of history rather than a flaw. Many collectors view such toning as attractive evidence of age and originality. Cleaning or altering the coin to remove the black surface would destroy its character and reduce its collector value. The natural darkening is part of its identity and makes it more compelling as a rare collectible. The value of more than $6 $100,000 attached to this coin is realistic within the high-end collector market because competition for unique examples is fierce. Wealthy investors and serious collectors are always prepared to pay significant amounts for coins that combine rarity, historical importance, and unique visual appeal. The 1943 steel wheat penny with S mint mark in black shade condition meets all these criteria and thus has earned its place among the most expensive pennies in history. In conclusion, this coin is not just a 1-cent piece, but a remarkable artifact from a critical moment in history. Its steel composition tells the story of wartime resourcefulness. Its S-mint mark connects it to the San Francisco Mint. Its black shaded condition shows how time has left its mark on this piece of metal. And its incredible market value of $600,000 proves that collectors place extraordinary worth on coins that combine rarity, history, and uniqueness. The 1943 S steel wheat penny in black shade condition remains one of the most valuable treasures in numismatics and will continue to fascinate and inspire collectors around the world. The 1909 era Lincoln wheat penny with S mint mark in circulated fine condition is among the most celebrated and sought-after coins in American numismatics. Its extraordinary value, rarity, and historical significance make it a crown jewel for collectors, with market valuations exceeding $800,000, which is $800,000 in today's currency. This coin is particularly remarkable because it represents one of the very first issues of the Lincoln cent, a coin that was introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Prior to 1909, the 1-cent coin featured the Indian head design, and the transition to Lincoln's portrait marked a major shift in American coinage. The 1909 S-era Lincoln cent carries an additional layer of rarity due to its mint mark and the errors that occurred during its production. The obverse of the coin features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right, designed by Victor David Brenner. Liberty is inscribed to the left of Lincoln, "In God We Trust" appears at the top, and the date 1909 is positioned to the right with the S mint mark just below the date, indicating that it was produced at the San Francisco Mint. The reverse carries the classic wheat stock design framing the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America, with the Latin motto E pluribus unum at the top. The artistry of Brenner is evident even on coins that have circulated heavily and in fine condition. The details of Lincoln's facial features and the wheat stalks remain discernible. The S mint mark adds tremendous value because only a small number of Lincoln cents were struck at the San Francisco Mint in 1909, and even fewer survived over a century in collectible condition. What sets the 1909 era Lincoln cent apart is the specific minting mistake associated with some coins of this year. Certain examples feature the VDB initials on the reverse at the bottom, while others were minted without the initials. Some coins also experience doubling or misalignment during striking, creating distinct varieties that collectors prize. The error in this coin could involve minor doubling of the letters, a misplaced mint mark, or other subtle die imperfections that occurred at the San Francisco Mint. Such errors are highly prized because they are documented and verified by experts, and they add to the coin's historical and monetary value. Despite its circulated fine condition, this coin retains remarkable collector appeal. Fine condition means that although the coin shows wear on the high points, the overall design and inscriptions remain visible. For coins over a century old, this level of preservation is exceptional, particularly for a coin struck at a small branch mint like San Francisco. Rust, scratches, or toning are present in some circulated examples, but in this coin the natural wear enhances its story, showing that it passed through numerous hands and transactions over more than 100 years. Collectors appreciate this narrative quality because it connects them to the everyday life of early 20th century America. The 1909 S-era Lincoln wheat penny is also significant because it represents the beginning of a legendary series. Lincoln cents have been continuously produced since 1909, making them the longest-running portrait series in United States coinage history. Early issues, especially those struck at branch mints and containing die errors, are the rarest and most valuable. The combination of a low mintage, a San Francisco mint mark, and an error makes this particular coin a cornerstone for any serious collector seeking to assemble a complete set of Lincoln cents. Market interest in this coin has grown steadily over the years. Auction records show that examples in fine circulated condition can achieve more than $800,000, which is 800,000, and coins in higher grades can surpass $1 million. This high valuation reflects not only the scarcity of the coin, but also the intense demand from collectors and investors who recognize its historical importance, artistic merit, and investment potential. Each coin is unique, and minor variations in error, toning, or surface characteristics further enhance its desirability. Collectors are drawn to coins like the 1909 S-era Lincoln cent for multiple reasons. First, it is an early example of the iconic Lincoln design, which has become synonymous with American coinage. Second, it provides a tangible link to the early 20th century and to the life and legacy of Abraham Lincoln. Third, it is extremely rare, particularly with an error and a branch mint mark. Finally, the coin is a prime example of how condition, rarity, and historical context combine to create extraordinary value in the numismatic marketplace. In conclusion, the 1909-era Lincoln wheat penny with S mint mark in circulated fine condition is a treasure of American coinage, its value exceeding $800,000, which is 800,000, underscores its importance and appeal to collectors worldwide. Despite being over a century old and having circulated, it retains the artistry of Victor David Brenner, the historical significance of being the first Lincoln cent, and the rarity of an S mint mark with an error. This coin represents the perfect blend of history, artistry, and numismatic rarity, making it one of the most coveted and expensive pennies ever produced in the United States. Next up we have the 1951-era Lincoln wheat penny with the mint mark in some rusty condition is a remarkable and highly prized coin in American numismatics. This coin stands out not only because of its age, but also because of its unique minting errors, which have elevated it to one of the most coveted pennies for collectors. Even with some rust, this coin commands enormous value, with market prices exceeding $650,000, which is 650,000. The 1951-era Lincoln cent represents a combination of historical significance, rarity, and numismatic intrigue that makes it a standout piece in any collection. The obverse of the coin features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right, a design introduced by Victor David Brenner in 1909. "In God We Trust" is inscribed above Lincoln's head, with liberty to the left and the date 1951 to the right. Just below the date is the D mint mark, indicating that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The 1951 error includes varieties such as doubling on the date or inscriptions, repunched mint marks, or minor die misalignments. These errors occurred due to imperfections in the minting process, making each example unique and highly collectible. The doubled or repunched D mint mark, in particular, is a sought-after feature among collectors because it is visually striking and serves as an unmistakable sign of an era coin. The reverse of the coin carries the classic wheat cent design, with two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above the denomination is the Latin motto E pluribus unum. The reverse remained largely unchanged from earlier Lincoln cents, providing continuity and enhancing the historical significance of the series. The contrast between the well-known wheat reverse and the distinctive errors on the obverse makes this coin both aesthetically interesting and historically valuable. The rusty condition of this coin adds an extra layer of uniqueness. Steel and copper coins over decades can develop rust due to exposure to moisture and improper storage. While rust is often seen as a flaw, collectors sometimes value it as evidence of the coin's journey through time. The rust on this 1951 era penny does not diminish its value. Instead, it tells a story of survival and authenticity. Even in such condition, The coin retains the key features of its era that is immediately recognizable to collectors, which ensures its high market value. The mintage of 1951 Lincoln cents was relatively high, with hundreds of millions of coins produced at the Denver Mint. However, only a small fraction carry the era features that make this coin so exceptional. Errors like doubled dies or repunched mint marks were rare and unintentional, which explains why they are so highly valued today. The 1951 era penny is a testament to the complexities of mid-20th century coin production and the occasional anomalies that result in extreme rarity. Collectors are particularly drawn to this coin for several reasons. First, it is part of the long-running Lincoln wheat cent series, which is historically significant and widely collected. Second, the era adds an additional layer of rarity and visual appeal, making it more desirable than regular issue pennies. Third, the coin represents a tangible piece of 1950s American history, connecting collectors to a bygone era of minting practices and everyday life. Each coin carries its own story, and even a coin with rust remains a valuable artifact that reflects both time and circumstance. The market value of this 1951 era Lincoln wheat penny with some rust has been estimated at more than $650,000, which is $650,000, demonstrating how rarity, error, and historical significance converge to create extraordinary collector demand. Auctions and private sales have shown that serious collectors and investors are willing to pay premium prices to acquire a coin of this nature, particularly because it is an era penny from a branch mint with distinctive features, even in rusty condition. This coin exemplifies the ways in which numismatic value is determined by factors beyond simple aesthetics. Historical context, minting errors, scarcity, and collector demand all play crucial roles in establishing its worth. The 1951 era Lincoln wheat penny remains a prized collectible, the symbol of the enduring fascination with Lincoln cents and their diverse varieties. In conclusion, the 1951 era Lincoln wheat penny with the mint mark in some rusty condition is a highly valuable and historically significant coin. Its market value exceeds $650,000, which is $650,000, and it continues to captivate collectors. With its unique minting errors, its place in the Lincoln cent series, and its tangible connection to mid-20th century America, even with rust, the coin's rarity, historical importance, and distinct era features make it one of the most sought-after coins in the world of numismatics. Next up we have the 1955 era Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark in good condition is one of the most extraordinary and highly prized coins in American numismatics. It is widely known for its iconic double die error on the obverse, which has made it one of the most famous era coins in the United States. Even in good condition, this coin commands astonishing prices from collectors and investors alike, with market values exceeding $750,000, which is $750,000. The 1955 double die cent represents both a critical moment in U.S. coinage history and a striking example of how minting errors can create extraordinary rarity and desirability. The coin's obverse features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right, designed by Victor David Brenner. Above Lincoln's head are the words "In God We Trust," with liberty inscribed to the left and the date 1955 to the right. The defining characteristic of this coin is the severe doubling of the date and the inscriptions on the obverse. On genuine examples, the doubling is most evident in the words "liberty" and "In God We Trust," as well as the digits of the date, which appear to be stamped twice. This doubling was caused by a misalignment in the die during the minting process, and it was not corrected, allowing thousands of these coins to enter circulation. The result is a visually striking and unmistakable error that immediately captures the attention of collectors. The reverse of the coin retains the classic wheat cent design, with two wheat stalks flanking the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America, e pluribus unum appears at the top. The reverse remains unaltered and shows no doubling, but its presence completes the historical design first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. The combination of Lincoln's image, the Hui reverse, and the 1955 double die error creates a coin that is instantly recognizable and historically significant. Although this particular coin is in good condition, it retains remarkable value because the doubling error is the main driver of collector interest. Good condition means that the coin shows noticeable wear on the high points, and the metal may be slightly discolored or have minor imperfections despite these surface issues. The doubled features on the obverse remain clearly visible, allowing collectors to appreciate the unique minting mistake. Coins in higher grades may fetch even more, but even good condition examples have sold at auction for prices exceeding $750,000, which is $750,000. Demonstrating that rarity and historical significance outweigh cosmetic flaws. The 1955 error -1 was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it lacks a mint mark. The mintage of standard 1955 Lincoln cents was over 900 million coins, yet only a small fraction contained the double die error. This makes the error coin exceedingly rare despite the overall abundance of the 1955 regular issue. The doubling occurred due to a misalignment of the hub and die during production, creating one of the most dramatic and collectible double die errors in American coinage. Collector interest in the 1955 double die Lincoln cent has remained consistently high for decades. Its fame is not limited to numismatists alone. It is often featured in books, magazines, and coin collecting guides as a quintessential example of a modern minting error. This has amplified its appeal and created a steady demand in auctions, with competitive bidding pushing prices to extraordinary levels. The coin's error, combined with its historical context and the iconic Lincoln design, ensures that it remains a centerpiece for any serious collection. Even in good condition, the coin provides a tangible connection to the 1950s era of American coinage. Collectors appreciate that these coins circulated widely before their rarity was recognized. The coin's survival over decades in circulated condition adds a narrative element that enhances its collectible appeal. Coins like this allow collectors to hold a piece of history in their hands, connecting them to mid-20th century America and the story of one of the country's most important minting errors. The market value of more than $750,000, which is $750,000, reflects the convergence of several factors: rarity, the dramatic visual appeal of the doubling, historical importance, and the enduring popularity of Lincoln cents. Each coin is unique, with slight variations in the degree of doubling, toning, and wear, further increasing its appeal among collectors. In conclusion, the 1955 era Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark in good condition is not just a coin but a numismatic legend. Its severe double die error, iconic Lincoln design, and historical context make it one of the most valuable and sought-after coins in United States history. Even in good condition, this coin has been valued at over $750,000, which is $750,000, reflecting the powerful combination of rarity, visual impact, and historical significance that continues to captivate collectors and investors around the world.